This is Tristan G. of Columbia International University, and you're listening to the Warzone podcast.
Welcome into the Warzone. This is your host, Derek Chirch, with my co-host, Paul Jones.
What is going on, Warrior family?
Welcome in, guys. We've been getting a lot of great feedback from you. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We are excited. We've got some hot episodes coming for you guys.
Hot fire!
We have an interview that'll be coming up in the next week or so that is going to blow you guys away.
It is going to blow you away. Fact.
So, Paul, you have been living the bachelor life the last few days here. So tell us.
Yes, my wife left me for 6 days to visit family up north. Who did I get on that one? Okay.
I hope your mom's not listening to this, because that would have been...
Leave my mother's name out of your mouth.
Will do. So tell us, what have you been doing? Hunter's been gone.
So it was good. It was good for the first 3 hours. And then I just got really sad and depressed. And I miss my family, man.
Now, you did say you were binge watching something yesterday.
The Chosen. Can I tell you what? That is a good series. That is, I think for me, it has surpassed Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, for you guys who haven't watched The Chosen, you can get on YouTube and find a lot of them. You can get the app. I think you said it's on...
Peacock?
Peacock TV, so if you've got that...
But only the first season's on Peacock.
Yeah, season 2 you got to get on the app.
Which I thought Can I be honest with you guys?
Yeah.
Transparency. Leaders lead with vulnerability, right? Wisdom Wednesday on a Monday. I watched all 8 episodes in one afternoon. 2 in the afternoon after church to 8 at night. And I was going to go an all-nighter and watch the second season. That's how good it is. But then it was gone. But then I came into work, and Derek, what did you tell me about the second season?
It's available on the app.
And it's what? It's $2.99?
It's free.
It is FREE creditreport.com, baby.
Yeah,
Free.
it's... Again, if you guys haven't seen it, it's about the ministry of Jesus. Expect different.
Expect it, yeah.
You're going to like
Your
it.
expectations will be... Wait. Will
exceeded.
Be blown. Yeah.
They will be exceeded.
Exceeded.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's what Paul's been doing.
And so Derek had his own bachelor weekend of his own. Instead of being miserable in his house alone with his dog, he did what? What did you do, Derek?
A couple of my buddies from Chicago came down along with their son. So Ryan and Jeff, a couple old friends of mine, and their son Caleb came down. They've been doing an MLB stadium tour, and I've been kind of popping in when I can. So they flew down. We drove out to Tampa, picked them up, went to the Rays and the Red Sox, Tropicana Field on Saturday.
Man, they make good orange juice.
They do. The stadium experience...
Wait, what stadium is this?
This is Tropicana Field in Tampa.
So the Rays.
The Rays Stadium. It was my first indoor baseball game ever, so that was awesome in that regard. The stadium experience wasn't great. The Rays did win. My son Josh also was with us during the trip. He loved it.
Oh, just your son?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's like my shadow, so he's with me all the time. And then so we drove back from Tampa, and in the middle got back to my house around 2 a.m., got up the next morning, drove down to Miami for the Yankees and the Marlins. That's an outstanding stadium. Lots of fun. The Yankees did win. It was a very pro-Yankees crowd.
Well, Miami's it's a cool town, you know?
Yeah. There's a really cool vibe around that stadium. The whole city kind of has an electricity about it. But it was a great experience. Couple games in a couple days. And looking forward to the next stadium that I'm going to hit. I don't know which it's going to be yet, but looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, you guys you got caught up on our lives. I know you were really hoping to have that today. Paul is going to drop... Yeah, they love it.
No, they don't.
Paul is going to drop some Warrior news. So let's go.
All right, coming to you live with the Warrior News. Cross-country tryouts are August 9th, directly after school. Middle school, high school girls volleyball tryouts are on August 10th and the 12th after school, 3:30. And then flag football tryouts, August 12th, directly after school. Now Derek, the flag football coach is going to be an incredible fit to the program this year.
He is a rookie head coach, so expectations are low.
Whoa.
Are you not a rookie football head coach?
I didn't even say it was me. You just spoiled it.
Paul Jones, everybody, flag football coach.
Yeah, thank you. Insert applauding audio file now.
Will do.
Okay, so back to some more important news. So there is something very important that I've been holding off on sharing with you guys. It is huge news, not only for the athletic program, not only for the school, but the entire community. This is life-changing. It was taken away because of COVID-19. I am so happy that we are through the worst part of the COVID-19 experience. Are you excited to hear what it is, Derek?
I can't wait to hear what it is.
Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
11.
All right, 11. So, drum roll, please. Not on the thing. On
the audio's... Okay, I'll drop it.
All right, drum roll, please. All right, we are bringing back concessions.
I'll be back. And I am back.
That was a lot of build-up for a very exciting announcement about concessions.
Concessions. Skittles, Snickers, pretzels, pizza, dollar dog night. Are you feeling that?
I would be down for some dollar hot dogs.
Listen, man, if you're lucky, maybe we will even have a special night for filet mignon.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm there for it. If there's steak on the grill, I will be there.
So if you're listening and you own a local business, a catering business, or a local family store, reach out to me because we can make something happen. I can exclusively sell your stuff at our concessions. That's a good deal, right?
That's going to be great.
And of course, I get unlimited Skittles.
Yeah. And, I think the thing is just going to be awesome to get back into the real TCA experience at a game that we just had to kind of put on hold last year to try to be safe for everybody, and now to be able to go back to
We're back, baby.
to have it all going. What's your favorite concessions item, by
Skittles.
the way? Skittles. I should have guessed that.
So fun fact: before every single basketball game I played in high school, I ate a bag of Skittles.
That seems like a really bad idea.
That would make sense why my basketball career didn't take off like I thought it would.
You know what though? You know who else does that? D Rose.
You know who also does that? I'm just here so I don't get fined. Marshawn Beast Mode Lynch, baby!
All right, so there's precedent for eating Skittles.
They are world-class athletes, and you know what? I'm working on my father figure.
He is.
Not a dad bod, a father figure.
I can confirm that.
Thank you. But we're going to go to the gym soon.
Yep.
Soon.
Paul's going to join me at the gym.
Soon.
Yep, soon.
Soon.
He keeps saying soon, so...
Wasn't it supposed to be this week when my family was out of town?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Anyway, some more news. We are still looking for 2 coaches. We are still looking for a middle school boys soccer coach. And we are also looking for a varsity girls assistant basketball coach. So if you know anyone who's interested, or if you're interested, let me know. Hit me up. You can hit me up on my email, my Instagram. I'm not going to give you my phone number. Also, we have 2 excited potential signings for coaches. They're currently working out their contract with their agents. They're working out their signing bonuses and things like that. Certain incentives that they work into their deal. But that should be hopefully out in the next week or so.
Yeah, that'll be some big news. I mean, honestly, you guys that are sports fans, the coaches at this level are so important. I mean, they're probably the most important part of the program because they set the tone for the sport. They have the most interaction with the kids. So it's really important that we get great coaches in place. That's what we're doing. And we'd love to have more. We can always use more help. And so if you've got a heart for it, you've got a background, you love the Lord.
And I'm an amazing boss.
I cannot confirm that yet, but he
What?
does seem like a good guy. So,
What do you mean you can't confirm it?
well, you're not the boss of me, so I can't confirm it.
What
But
are you for? You're not the boss of me.
all right, that was the Warrior News. Thank you, Paul, for that. So today's topic, we are talking about something called the Warrior Way, and it's going to be some guiding principles for the athletic program as we go forward into 2021-22. And so we'll talk about sort of how we arrived on this and what we were, where we're coming from. Paul and I sat down and we were talking about.
Well, I was pacing around the room.
Paul was pacing. I was sitting. We started talking about our social media push for the year, kind of what we were going to do with social media, what our theme was going to be.
Yep.
And Paul mentioned the Warrior Way, which is just kind of a catchy phrase, and it sounds good. It goes good on a T-shirt. But then we started really thinking about, well, what are those principles that we really want our athletic program to be known for? And we wanted to make it simple enough that it would be easy to memorize, easy to to focus on some small things that are really big ideas. So we're going to talk today about the Warrior Way, what that means for our athletic program. We'll talk a little bit about what it's going to look like on social media, but the real deal is, what is the Warrior Way? And I'll kind of let you start. You came up with that phrase.
Yeah, so I'll break down the points, and then if you want to get into some of the sub-points, and kind of break down each category. So the first category under the Warrior Way is to glorify God. Okay? The second is to outwork everyone. And the third is to respect the culture. So we got glorifying God, outwork everyone, and respect the culture. Now, what do you think about if someone just says to you, Derek, our program, our main focus is to glorify God? Can you explain that to someone who might not understand?
Yeah, see, it's such a broad topic that every Christian school would say that. If you asked pretty much any Christian school athletic director or principal, they would say, well, glorifying God is our main mission. And that sounds great. It's a great talking point. But it's something that we're trying to work our way through. What does that tangibly mean for us? Because it's easy to say, hard to do. So it's really an all-encompassing thing, and it starts with our coach. It starts with you as an athletic director and works its way down to the coaches. But it's a mentality of intentionally trying to glorify God with what we do. It's all about being intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. When it comes down to glorifying God, the way I see it, and I know you agree with me, and how I think the Bible portrays it, is that it's a lifestyle thing, right? It's not something you wear on your wrist. It's not what you put on the back of your jersey or your baseball hat, or you write on the shoe on your volleyball shoes, or sneakers. That's not what glorifying God looks like. That can be one way, but to glorify God, it's a lifestyle of obedience. It's obeying the Lord in every single thing you do. And as a high school athlete, some of the main areas where you can have a lifestyle of obedience in order to glorify God would be your attitude. It could be what you listen to, what comes out of your mouth, how hard you play, listening to the coach even if you disagree with him. I should say, when you disagree with him, listening to him and following instructions. And that's what it means to glorify God in our culture, is just a lifestyle of obedience.
Yeah, and you kind of started diving into this a little bit, this idea of heart and actions, because there's really two parts of this. It's, I think we would agree, the heart is what's the most important, but the actions are what comes from the heart. So they're definitely tied together. But trying to figure out, it's not always about the external action. That's usually just an indicator of what's going on in the heart. So trying to get an athletic culture that is heart-minded, I think those actions start to follow when the heart is touched, and it's something we've talked about, that there's a tension between how much of our athletic program is an athletic program and how much is a Bible program, and just trying to figure out, how much Bible do we inject? How much spiritual focus do we put in it? Because you don't want to say to limit it, because that sounds like you're
satanic.
Right. It sounds like you're saying well, we only want so much God, and that's certainly not what the implication is. It's a matter of how do you focus on the sport while also being so spiritual minded. And what do you think about that?
I think it comes down to your lifestyle. So you're obviously going to come across coaches with their biblical integration is, we're going to cancel practice today, We're going to open up Romans 6, and we're going to have a Bible study. We're not going to touch a basketball. Okay, fine. You're going to have other coaches who say a prayer before their game, and that's the only spiritual nature or spiritual climate that they introduce to their young athletes, which I would say is not okay. And then you're going to have people who live a lifestyle of obedience and integrate the Bible into the way they treat their athletes, the way they treat the refs, the way they treat their administration, and the way they treat parents and referees. It's not hard to integrate biblical culture into athletic program if it's already integrated in every other aspect of your life. Because you're just living normal life if the Bible is already integrated into your lifestyle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we're talking about coaches, the kind of coaches we want. It's a top-down thing. It's if you have coaches who are genuinely living a life that's obedient to Christ, that's going to come out in the way that they act, the way they treat the players, and when the players respect a coach like that, the player's demeanor will often follow.
Yeah, and I know we talk a lot about state titles and winning and success. We talked a lot about that on the last episode with the exposure myth. If you haven't listened to it, it's on Apple Podcasts. Go back, shameless plug, episode 2. And we talked a lot about that, but I truly see myself as a failure, not only as athletic director or coach, but as a child of God, if I'm not implementing the lifestyle of glorifying God and the climate of biblical integration first and foremost into every single program and sport we have here at TCA. Because what is the point if you're not doing that, right? The Bible says that our lives are a mist that appears in the morning. When you wake up, it's really early, there's that fog, and the sun comes out and it's gone. That's our life to God. So we need to be so intentional about this glorifying God and not letting it, like you said, just be lip service. Because the Bible says faith without works is dead.
Yeah, and I think that's, to me, something you and I have talked a lot about. That's why I feel so strongly that sometimes we so overinflate the external actions. Like Christian schools and ministries can be so quick when a kid uses a bad word on the court or on the field or something like that. We can be so quick to judge that and be so frustrated with it, and yet we'll miss the fact that an athlete who's quote-unquote a good kid can be full of pride, can be full of arrogance, can be unwilling to serve others. And so we really want to keep that, we really want to be aware of that tension that goes on there. Because it's about the heart,
Accountability without grace can quickly become self-righteousness.
Yes.
You need to have a balance of grace and mercy with your accountability, especially with a young person.
Yeah. So that's kind of a great segue to go into this idea of humility. Because humility is a lot of what we're talking about from both the coach's side and the athlete side, being humble. And so we kind of identified outwork everyone as an important principle for both of us. I've always told my teams over the years, you can control two things: attitude and effort. Mm-hmm. And so those 2 points, glorifying God and outworking everyone, are really attitude and effort. Those are two of the things that it doesn't matter how talented the player is, you can control. And so we said outwork everyone, and I kind of thought about, we're a small school, that we have to keep that chip on our shoulder and the underdog mentality, just keeping a humble, hungry mentality of, I have to work harder than everyone if we're going to succeed.
Yeah, I don't know about you, and you've coached almost as long as I've been alive. But I do not want someone on my team, if they're not a dog, and to explain that, I don't want someone on my team that isn't willing to sacrifice their body on the floor. I don't want someone on my team who isn't willing to do whatever it takes in regards to keeping your testimony to win the game, right? That doesn't mean you take cheap shots, but what that means is you are bleeding, you are sweating, you are clawing your game your way into every single game, even if they're bigger than you, which they will be, even if they're faster than you, which they will be, even if they're better than you, which they will be. But you can keep the game close if you're a dog.
Yeah, and the thing that sometimes gets missed, and I think this is a sports culture thing in general, like all the way up into the pro level, college level. You know, we get this idea of like glue guys in basketball. We got to have a glue guy, the guy that's going to work harder than everybody. And I understand that completely. Like every team needs like a scrappy player. But what we're looking for is for every player in our program to have that scrappy mentality, especially the leaders. Mm-hmm. Like I want our best athletes and our best players and our oldest kids to be the ones that work the hardest, because that's what sets the tone. Like as coaches, we can preach this all day long, but when you have a senior who gets on the floor, you have a senior that runs out of pop fly, that's what makes the difference in the good and the great teams, I think. It's the leadership having this mentality.
Hungry dogs run faster.
Yeah, I that's a great point. Like that's what we need. That's the mentality we need our guys to have. And even when we reach the pinnacle, even when we've talked about it before on here, the baseball team comes back from state this year, and the next day they're out on the field. Mm-hmm. That is the mentality. Like we need all of our programs to have that idea that I have to continue to outwork everyone, not just the other teams we play. There should be a healthy competition between our own athletes to say, I'm going to outwork my teammate and he's going to outwork me.
Absolutely. Even more than that, you should be competing against yourself.
Yep.
The whole idea of 1% better every day, you just want to be better than you were yesterday. And if you focus on getting better and beating yourself every day, come on now.
It's one of the reasons why I respect cross-country runners so much is because they have embraced the idea of competing against myself, competing against the clock. Like success is not necessarily based on your placement in the race. It's based on how much did I improve from the beginning of the season till now. Mm-hmm. So that's something we're definitely trying to push into our kids, is that we want to outwork everyone. And it's something we want our whole school to actually have, the mentality. Like we talk about our social media, we're from the administrative level, we're saying like we are going to put a product out there that's better than everyone else. We're going to be the ones that stay late to record a podcast. We're going to be the ones that go the extra mile to have some awesome video footage that we're putting out there. So it's something we need, a small school mentality of outwork everybody all the time.
Yep.
Now, the other point that we had was respect the culture. I want to let you start with that one because you've used that word culture a lot, and that's something that's important to you. So maybe you can kind of elaborate on what we mean when we even talk about the culture.
So the culture, I think, is summed up in what we talked about for the last 10 minutes. The culture is, at TCA, building a winning culture consists of glorifying God and outworking everyone. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And everything we just talked about falls under that umbrella. So to respect the culture, it means, look, if you come in here and you don't like what we're doing, you don't understand why we're doing it, if you don't think it's right that we're integrating the Bible, that's your business. But I expect you to respect what we're doing. That means full attention, that means listening, that means soaking up the information, and then doing what you're asked to do on the field or on the court or on the track. Just respect the culture we're trying to build, respect the TCA Warrior Way, because that goes very, very far in continuing to grow our program, is having a certain level of respect for what we're doing, even if you don't agree with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say it's an extension of the mission of the school. Like we recognize that athletics is just an arm of the school. I think it's an important one. I think it's kind of the front porch of the school to a certain extent. People come by and that's what they see first. A lot of times they see it in the paper, they see it on social media, wherever. We can be the face sometimes, but we're just an extension of the school. Mm-hmm. You know, like Trinity, we're here to minister to students. We're here about education. We're here about adhering to the principles of God's word. And athletics is no different than that. We have a different output in terms of the product that we're creating, but it all falls back on those same cultural principles of the school.
Yeah. I mean, our school is excellent education for world change, and our athletic program is excellent athletics for world change. There's no different. It all falls under the umbrella of glorifying God and outworking everyone, whether that's, on the field or in the classroom or in the community.
Yeah, I would say another thing that I know we're trying to do as a school, and I know you've talked a lot about as an athletic program, is talking about a culture of consistency. And that's something that over years of being an athletic director has always been a frustration, is having some programs that raise the bar really high and then having other programs that don't. And that's what we're trying to bring everybody up onto the same level, to say our expectation for every team is this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. It's part of the Warrior Way, but it's also being on time, being respectful to officials. We could go on and on about all these different small points, but the idea is that when a player is wearing a Trinity uniform, you would not know what sports team they were on here other than the fact that you're watching that specific game or you see that uniform. Like when you see Trinity, it should be almost like a clone in terms of the respect, the culture mentality that we have.
Yeah, consistency is key, and that's something that I'm striving towards as a man in my personal life. Because a couple of years ago, I kind of looked at all the people I look up to and mentors or just older men in the faith, and they all had one common attribute, and that was consistency. They were all different, they were all individuals, but they all had consistency, which simply means you knew what to expect from them every single day. And that same thought process, we're trying to transfer over to the athletic program, that, if you're 0-12, your work ethic should be the same as if the cross-country team, if they win every single meet and win districts. It shouldn't matter how many wins you have or how many losses you have. Consistency is key in building a program that honors God, because God blesses consistency. God blesses those who are putting the work in every day, without stopping.
Yeah, and I would, for you athletes that are listening, I would just encourage you to think about, what are we building here and what's your part? Because every one of you that puts on that Trinity uniform, and every coach for that matter that puts on a polo.
And every parent.
Yeah, we're all building a culture here. And I can tell you, it's a lot easier to tear a culture down than it is to build one up.
Yep.
All it takes is one incident. It takes one time where we get embarrassed by a player's actions, or a parent in the stands, or a coach, getting thrown out of a game, or whatever it is. And so we all need to be very aware of our part in building this culture. And we want to be to the point eventually where the Warrior Way is not just known within the walls of this school, but it's known in the community. People look at Trinity with a level of respect, not just because we're good at sports. I think that's a byproduct of all the things we're talking about. I think the accolades come along with that, but that people would look at that and go, wow, that is like the most respectful school. That is those kids are wonderful to have when they come to play a game in our facilities. But we all have to do our part in that. Like I said, it's so easy to tear a culture down with some careless words or careless actions. And so you athletes especially, you're under the lights every time you step out on the field or the court. So just be aware of that it's a privilege to put the uniform on. You're building something special here, and we all impact each other. What you do on the basketball court affects the baseball team. What you do on the diamond affects the runners out on the cross-country course. And I think when we're all cognizant of what role we play, it makes it a little easier to live up to our end of the bargain.
Yeah, it breaks my heart when I hear parents or fans come and say, I just heard so-and-so from your school just say this, and it really compromised their testimony. Or that's a mature response from someone who's complaining or has something to say. But I usually hear is people slandering and gossiping. I can't believe they said this word on the field and they threw a fit. It breaks my heart, not because you broke the rules, not because I look bad, It breaks my heart because you're stunting the growth of the kingdom of God. Because when you bear the name Christian, Trinity Christian Academy, the word Christian in the Greek is translated over to little Christ. So you're actually a representation of Christ, and you're stunting the growth of his kingdom when you act out. And that's what breaks my heart. It's not that you're breaking the rules or we look bad. It's that you are literally, potentially stopping someone from meeting Jesus just because of the way you act.
Yes.
In uniform.
And all that said, too, I would go back to something we said earlier. Wherever there's humility, there's grace. Because we know, like, we're going to set the bar high and we're going to have high expectations. And we know those expectations are sometimes not going to be met because we're humans. In fact, the two of us sitting in this room probably can think of times in our athletic career where we would say, like, I didn't meet the standard that I would set for everyone else. But that just takes humility. When there's humility, there's grace. We're going to come alongside kids. We're going to lovingly bring them back into the fold when there's humility.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean, like I said earlier, there still needs to be accountability. If you do something dumb, you're going to have to, own up to it. But, I'm not going to look at you any different as a person.
Yeah.
That's when adults start treating kids who mess up as just like failures.
Yep.
That's a joke.
Yeah. And this is where all this stuff we have to hold in tension. And just like all of us who claim to walk with Christ, like there's always going to be a tension between our behavior and our hearts, and we're going to make mistakes. But because people are going to make mistakes is not an excuse to lower the standard. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think in all my years of teaching and coaching, I think kids want the standards to be higher. I think my own kids at home want the standards to be higher because when kids know where the bar is, oftentimes they'll excel to achieve it. When the bar is set low and you set the bar for mediocrity, you're going to get exactly what you expect. Mm-hmm. So you guys are going to see a lot more about the Warrior Way. You're going to see a social media campaign coming. You're going to see some shirts. You're going to see all kinds of different stuff. But we don't want to get caught up just in the social media, the platitudes from that. Like, now you guys know what this is about. You're going to keep hearing what it's about. We're going to keep emphasizing these things. And hopefully it's going to be a culture that's going to take root. And we're going to see it really start to make a big difference in the way people look at Trinity athletics.
Fact, no fiction. So to close it out, I'm going to share a verse with you. It is Matthew 24:27, and it reads, "For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." Jesus is coming back. Be ready. Love you guys. This is Chirch and Jones on the Warzone podcast. We're out. See ya. I forgot your name.